Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. We like to give Hassan a segment every once in a while, and it is all.
Wait, who's we? Do we like to? Okay,
Well, I like to give you a segment because I feel,
we. So then you're referring to yourself as we.
well, we as a group,
Okay,
we as a
understood.
group love to give Hassan his own segment to talk about the pop culture, news, shows, whatever is on his mind, and give it to him. Give it to the audience the way he likes to deliver it. Basically, I like to just hand this over to you, and have you run rampant doing your thing. We call this Rogue Rage, and today's Rogue Rage is all about.
Well, I mean, my question from me is only going to go right to you. Like, you finally saw Arcane, right?
Yes.
So what'd you think?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. I really did. I thought that
All right.
overall the animation is what I think What If could only hope to be. I think
Binary choices. Everybody's always binary.
no, but
Okay.
it's not that. Look, it's very like how do you not look at the animation and go, "Wow, I see kind of what they were trying to do with."
No, I mean, I cannot do that. I don't. All right. That's how you choose a slice into it. That's fine. I got no problem with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the animation was breathtaking. I like the fact that when they fought, they had that little because it's obviously based on the video game League of Legends. They had that little kind of hop step when they would fight. I loved the fact that the what do you call the music went with everything and really like added to it. It wasn't just a byproduct of having like let's put a cool soundtrack here or let's put a cool song here. It had everything to do with the story. I mean, just so carefully well thought out. I would put it up there with, in terms of premeditated strategy meets execution, I would put it up there with Westworld Season 1 with how good it was.
All right. Okay. That's high praise. That'll work.
Yeah.
You put it up there at the Westworld season 1.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So you're good with it, man. It worked for you. That's
Yeah.
basically what you're saying.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
it was a really, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It was definitely something
But
I'm
I mean,
glad
like,
turned me
when
on
I
to.
told you like you should watch it, like you
Mhm.
kind of poo-pooed it because it was animation. So you got, you're down, you're kind of down on animation
But here's the
ultimately.
thing. I am always willing to try something to see if something will like I'm not going to not get into something just because I'm not going to let my predispositions toward things cloud it. If something's good, I'm going to acknowledge, yeah, hey, that was freaking good, So I give it its props because it did go past my my initial litmus test of, you know, this is animation.
Okay. All right, excellent. So, it convinced you that not all animation is terrible and that, some animation is worth you spending your time on. Obviously, there are what are them? There are 9 of them, right? Hour
Yeah.
long, or internet
35 to
hours, right?
45. 35
No,
to 45
minutes, 44 minutes each, which is internet hours, right? If you account for no commercials, it's an hour of content, right?
Yeah,
So you watched all 9 of them,
I did.
which is, let's be honest, rare.
Well, that's not
that you
necessarily. Well,
actually
okay.
that you actually dive into the material that we're trying to cover on the show.
I would sit there and say it's rare for me to get into something to the point where I am excited to watch all the episodes. Streaming is killer because I'm probably not the norm. I think most people enjoy the fact that there's so much content out there because they can just pick and choose and get into whatever they want. I don't like. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of. I like Apple TV because they only come out with like 2 new shows a year. I feel like, and so it's very easy. It's like, okay, there it is. If I want to watch it, I know exactly where it is, what it is. Netflix is coming out with new stuff all the time. It makes it more difficult to get into it.
So it's not the show's fault. It's just the fact that there are too many shows.
Yeah, there's too much stuff
bothering
out
you.
there. It's too much stuff demanding my attention. So you have to be really compelling to get me to want to continue to consume your.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have to kind of be in the mood for whatever story you're trying to tell me too. I mean, let's be honest.
No, yeah,
So,
that makes perfect sense. But
Yeah.
all right, so you did like it. So you
Loved it.
walked into it. You did appreciate it. You did like it. So I accept your apology. All right, excellent. So as you said, just the same as before. Like, yeah, I think the animation is second to none. I don't compare animation to animation because there's so much of it. There's so many varieties of it.
Sure.
I do have a gauge for good animation versus bad animation, in my opinion, and this certainly was on top of the good. On the top list of all good animation. So it was beautiful. It was wonderful to behold. A lot of the lighting and the coloring and stuff like that's amazing. The story is pretty tight. It's a very rudimentary story, but it's told in a very stylistic way, and it makes you think the story is a little deeper than it actually is, which is fine with me. You know, but I mean, when you really start to dig down dig to the core of what you're watching, you realize it's really not. There's not much to it. But there's a lot to be learned from how to stylistically tell a story.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't know how to stylistically. They either have too much style and no substance in the story at all, because all of the substance has been sacrificed for the sake of style.
Yeah.
Or they're telling the most rudimentary story in the plainest way possible. So it's easy for you to follow, but it doesn't have any. There's no sexiness to it. And so this actually has a good balance of both, which I was highly appreciative of. I've never played League. Well, no, I did. That's not true. I've played League of Legends, but very briefly, and I was never really into the game.
Yeah,
I knew it was a League of Legends. I knew it was a video game adaptation, but like you said, when I saw the trailer and I saw the animation, I'm like, well, I don't care how bad it is. I'm going to watch it anyway because of the animation in and of itself, and I pleasantly found that it was a very good show, and I'm looking forward to next season, which everyone's predicting is going to be like sometime around 2028 or something like that. So I mean, it is what it is. That's the thing I don't like about streaming, is that we're getting way less content it's taking way longer for them to give it to us, and everybody's okay with it because everyone's throwing a TV show at us. So it is what it is.
Overall, do you think that, because I actually feel one of the advantages to animation, and here, and I'll give you something. I don't have a bias toward like in theater animated movies. I feel like I saw the original Final Fantasy. It made me think of Final Fantasy, but it also made me think of how far we've come now with
animation.
It is animation, but it's almost like photorealism.
It's three-dimensional cartooning.
Yeah.
Which is, like they sacrificed the attempt to make something look like a tangible three-dimensional object in a simple form with photorealism. And they've tacked on the skins of actual artistry onto it. So you get near perfect renditions of each character over and over again.
Yes.
So that's all in the computer. There's very, very little of it that's actually there. There's a lot of secondary, like ancillary stuff, like smoke rings and plumes of fire and bursts of stuff like that are actually 2D animation, like hand drawn. But most of the rest of it is 3D animation in the computer.
Okay.
So that's the age we're living in now, man. And I don't think, and everybody can correct me. I'm fine with it. I don't think it takes many people to produce work like this.
No, I don't. Not from a technical standpoint. I don't think so. I agree with you. I think, going back to my point about animated movies and how, because we remember we had Jeff Gomez on one time, and I basically said to him, I said,
I remember every time we've had Jeff Gomez.
Well, we've had him many times. I think we were talking about Into the Spider-Verse, and I said, how come animated films are just, the stories unfold, even going back to earlier segment, right? Ghostbusters, I said was clunky in the way it unfolded everything for me. This was so crisp to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, how the story itself, I understood it, but it wasn't overly simplistic. There was flash forwards and flashbacks, but it wasn't overly jarring. The characters had room to really develop and breathe. And I find that with good animated storytelling, let's go that way, I find that it's almost always easier for an animated film to do that. And Jeff's answer was there's less cooks in the kitchen. In this case, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see it as probably a very small group and or singular vision of how this show was how this story was supposed to unfold. And again, I liken it to Westworld season 1 because I think that's the same thing. Everything was very deliberate in how it was told. Everything was very calculated. But at the same time, just it never felt like clunky. It never felt like it was on top of each other. It never felt rushed. It just felt very, very smooth. So, as always, I'm finding these cool things to talk about, and I bring it to you, and now you have your rogue rage, all about my selective.
Yes, your genius of yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, great, and you can do these from now on. And tell us every week of your unparalleled foresight and vision into the world of pop culture and animation and movies in general.
Yes.
I look forward to it. I look forward to listening to all of it. I really do. I'm not being sarcastic at all.
I'm quite the prognosticator when it comes to this stuff. I'm very rogue.
Procrastinator.
If just to stay on brand, I'm very rogue in how I'm able to
I don't think you can self-label rogue, but all right. I don't think you can self-apply rogue, but you do it. You go ahead and do it.
It's tough, but Jim Days just said Mike is a genius. I agree with him. He's also got great taste because he was a backer in one of my Kickstarters. So absolutely, he knows exactly. And a long-time friend, but I'm complimenting his taste.
Right, right.
So
I guess that's settled, as I was saying. Well, we're done. We're done here. It must be true then.
What's the one big positive rage that you would give out of everything you said to try to convince somebody to watch this? What's the one way you would angle it to get somebody who might be hesitant about animation, might be hesitant about a video game adaptation, might be hesitant in general to watch.
And you know what? I acknowledge that's necessary. That's a necessary angle. Like, if you had to, what would your elevator pitch be? I'd be like, "F you, man. If you don't like it, you can go heck yourself." I don't care if you like it. But what?
Like Hassan, hey, what's up, man? Hey, good. Yeah. I'm looking for something to watch on TV. What should I watch?
You should you should turn your TV off and start reading a book. That's what you should do, Michael.
No, but I just paid for Netflix.
Oh, then you should get your money back.
I'm locked in for 30 days no matter what. So
in that case, I would recommend...
I heard good things about this Arcane. Is it like, why would I like Arcane?
Why would you like Arcane? Well, you have a wife and 2 children. But if you watched Arcane, you probably would be able to lock yourself in a room for a little while all by yourself and not have to deal with your wife and 2 children for a little while. No?
No.
Look.
Spoken like a man who has no wife and 2 children.
That you know of, my friend.
That's true. They call you Egon. They call you Egon Spangler. Man of the night.
I think look, good shows are kind of hard to come by. There's a lot of shows, as you said, but not all of them are good. And I would say a small percentage of them are actually good to the point where they compel you to watch each and every episode in the season, right? The typical trend is that they start to peter out right around episodes 7, 8, or 9 and start to feel like they're stretching the point just to get to the last hour. So this is not one of those. This is also, if you support animation, this is really good. This is expertise animation. This is another this is another genre starter.
Mhm.
You know, this is another milestone for the genre in and of itself, and you should be part of it. You should watch it. Also, it's pretty darn cool. If I'm telling you it's cool, if I'm wasting my time to try to convince you to watch something, then you got to know that's pretty awesome, because I would usually be like, no, do whatever you want, man. I don't care. I'm gonna have a sandwich.
Do you know what else is pretty awesome?
Your really bad segues. I don't agree that they're awesome.
I think it's gonna be amazing.
I think you think that they're good segues.
There's a new Bruce Willis action movie out.
Oh, all right. This is actually a business segue.
Where
this is important.
He is playing the bad guy, and we've got one of the good guys, Michael Dvorin, screen actor.
Yes, we do.
Coming up next. We're going to interview him. We're going to learn all about the new Bruce Willis film. We're also going to learn a lot about his musical background, his parents' musical background, and just whose side he's on in the speculation debate. We got all that coming up next.
Sounds awesome.